What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders and closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Hope you guys are ready because I'm sick and tired of these markets just chopping, doing nothing all day. Yesterday, we obviously got some sell-off. We trended a little bit better yesterday than we did on Monday. So at least it started to move, which was good. Let me see if I can do a screen share real quick. Let's see, there we go. Awesome. Who do we got piling in? Tanya's in the house. What's up, Tanya? Harold, good morning. We got Brian chilling with us, Jay chillaxing, Marcus is in the house, Kyle, Jenny, Albert. Oh, we got Tony. Tony, man, you don't have work today? You're here bright and early? I like it. All right. BEA, beautiful. Let's see. We got Bill in the house. Cedric, good morning. We got my boy Greg Gilbert, GW. We got Josh in the house. Good morning. We got Kyle, Mike, Sylvan. All right. You guys are piling on in. So let's take a look at the market. Keep in mind, today we could see some volatility back in the market. We will see. I still got some fibs up there from yesterday's fib discussion. So let's take a look. A little bit of a gap down after some decent sell-off yesterday, trapping some bulls. On the daily chart for the SPY, we got down to the 10 EMA, broke through it slightly for the lows of the day, and hung out pretty low down there. So we do have a gap and go. If we're looking for where the next VPOC is, so obviously we now have two VPOCs that we're breaking higher than, at least opening. So if we could see any type of pullback, that would be amazing. If we get to like a 394.18, something like that. But it is a gap and go. We do have one level higher than this, 395.52. So we should be trapping some bears today. Tony's working from home. All right. We got Jennifer on YouTube. Good morning, Jennifer. We're going to trap some of the bears. Probably most of the bears from yesterday are going to be trapped today. Freak out a little bit. Keep in mind, we do have Jerome Powell and the Fed releasing notes at 2. And I believe we get the pleasure of listening to Jerome Powell at 2:30 today. So things can get a little strange up until that point. Otherwise, yeah, I want to remain a little bit more bullish today. Keep that bull trend intact, at least up until 2, and probably be out of most trades until 2, just in case something crazy happens. We are at a VPOC right now. We're just kind of sitting on the hourly chart for the SPY. So see if this one holds. We have another level of support, 394.15. So those two levels are where I'm looking for. So pretty much out of the gate, I got to be looking more bullish than bearish today. Let's take a look real quick at the Qs, which if anybody was on that Fibonacci session we talked about yesterday afternoon, I think we were setting up a trade where Woodshed was in. I don't think he got triggered. He missed it. I think I would have got triggered on a perfect little fib. I don't know if Woodshed's in the house, but yeah, and again, if you're holding it overnight, obviously anything could happen, but we would have had him getting in, I think, on this little pullback. One of those little pullbacks would have been the entry price, and it was just based on fibs. We did the fibs from COVID lows to the all-time highs, and we saw that we were sitting roughly around, we were bouncing around the 50% retracement on a fib on the Qs for a few days now. So if we're going to bounce in the market, it better be soon. It better be soon. Let's take a look at the daily chart. So for the daily chart, we have right now we're opening 298.96. If that holds, we are obviously gapping up from yesterday's VPOC. We're also trapping every single person inside of this candle. We're also looking at The Qs we are in a little bit of congested area. So the SPY has a little bit more room to run, but the Qs, we have a little bit VPOC, 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 VPOC. So we are actually opening a little congested area. This one might not run as far in the morning as the SPY might. SPY just has a little bit more room than the Qs. So keep that in mind. Let's run through some of the stocks. Let me throw this real quick on the hourly, just see if we're opening at any key levels. I mean, most of those were retested though, so that's the only thing. I would like to see maybe a little pullback to 298.05-ish, 17, 298.17, something in that zone. A little pullback, and then we start to run. But it is a gap and go. So again, I would be a little bit more bullish in the market than bearish. Tesla. So we had the highest volume of the day yesterday, somewhere in the 774.06 zone. Good morning, Matt. We got Richard on YouTube. Good morning. We have a previous developing VPOC that was at 788.97. So we're above those two, showing again a little bit more signs of strength. I don't think I would mind playing Tesla at bullish out of the gate. Probably looking for some kind of retest, 787.75. We're not, it's with the 10 EMA rule, we're not going to be able to play this one out of the gate just because it is inside candle. But I would be leaning a little bit more bullish than bearish on Tesla at this point, because we are gapping now above two different VPOC areas. We are, I mean, realistically on this candle, probably about, we kind of dipped a little more than 618, probably even. All right, let's let Tesla do its thing for a bit. I still want to lean a little bit more bullish on Tesla, but it is inside candle. There's probably just better opportunities somewhere in this market. AMD could be one of them, or this is Amazon. Amazon could be one of them. We're gapping above at least the opening range price, the closing range price, but we're still inside yesterday's candle. We are still below that 10 EMA on a daily chart as well. So that could be a rejection spot. We did reject it one time. Let's flip this to an hourly. But again, it is a gap and go as well. Not all of them, but most of the developing VPOCs, we are gapping above as well. So any levels that institutions or high volume was kind of sitting at, pushing this thing down, we are gapping above. We are in between a little bit of a tighter range from back here. So 118.03-ish. And we are slightly above the 10 EMA on an hourly chart. So that would give us a little bit more bullishness on Amazon. But again, depends on where this thing opens, and then does it come back for a retest down to 116.76 as a better location. That being said, we have this target up here, 120.70. So 120.70 is a VPOC level that was never retested. So that would be my target. That does give us about $3 to the upside. Again, still an inside candle, so we're not going to be able to 10 EMA strategy it out of the gate. But I would have to lean a little bit more, again, bullish on it, especially if we're above the 10 EMA on that hourly chart, which would be nice. And then we do have about $3 roughly to the upside. So we have a little bit of a decent range. Craig is in the house. What's up, Craig? All right, we got Apple gapping above 10 EMA on the hourly chart. That looks good. We're gapping above two closed VPOCs, which is good for bullish. A lot of different developing VPOCs, good for bullish. One thing I don't like is obviously the target, at least the initial target, would probably be running into about 153.22. So not a huge amount of range, at least out of the gate. If we start breaking that, we're going to start looking at some of the bigger targets. But even the next one above that is probably going to be somewhere in the 153 and 155. If we could make some kind of play to the 155, I think the trade's worth it. Otherwise, I think we're going to hit some of these other resistance spots. If I was just to eyeball this thing, we're probably pretty close to the 50%. 50% is probably somewhere in this 153.25 zone. So I don't know how much range we're actually sitting at on that one. Technically right now we're still inside. This one might be able to breach the inside day candle. And if it does, then it will be in play. Right now for 10 EMA. It's not. Delta. Delta again, nice little gap and go on Delta. We are above the 10 EMA. We're above this is gonna be the one today. We are above VPOC from yesterday. We're at a previous VPOC right now. So if that one breaks, we might start to get a little bit more room on this one. But again, bullish this one. So Delta is in play for right now. We'll move that to the top. Just out of the 6 stocks that we look to officially trade, Delta would definitely be one that we could trade or make a play on. Nvidia, again, the targets on that one would be a little rough. Let me just go back to that. Just check the hourly chart real quick. See if there's any crazy volume, anything like that that we should be aware of. Not a lot of volume at all on Delta. No volume too much. We did have 1, 2, 3 candles at the end of the day, just pure sell-off. And again, we are opening in a decent spot. Above the 10 EMA. I'd like to almost see this thing start to show us some signal that it could get above 31.37, catch the retest at 31.37, and then maybe we could play this thing to like 31.72, because it's about 40 cents of risk. Rock's in the house. What's up, Rock? Oh, again, a little bit of a tight range. Tight range on Delta, but it does qualify. Nvidia doesn't look bad. So Nvidia might have a little bit more range in it, at least to about 172.24. Again, decent gap and go. Above the 10 EMA on an hourly chart. Let's see where we're at on the daily charts. Yep, above the 10 EMA on a daily chart. So out of all of them, I think Nvidia might be my favorite one that we might get the opportunity to play. I'm gonna does this thing actually come back for a retest first? I'm gonna add an alert 169.38. That'll probably get triggered relatively right away. Doug KK sitting in the champion's chair, hanging out with us. I like it. But yeah, again, Nvidia will qualify. So we have Nvidia and Delta out of the gate that do qualify. Everything else is slightly still in yesterday's candle range, so we might have to wait a few minutes on that. Again, we are sitting bullish, and we did see, so most of our stocks that we're trading are probably a little more related to the Qs than the SPY. Qs look like they were just jammed into a little bit of a tighter trading range. SPY looked like it was a little bit more wide open. Let me see. Oh yeah, PayPal. We're gonna definitely take a look at PayPal. Boeing had earnings. Boeing looks pretty decent. So again, anything not Qs related looks a little bit stronger. And Boeing is above pretty much all VPOCs. I can see a decent little move on Boeing. Boeing would give us a target up to like 168. That gives us about $7 range. It is it's not a gap and go. They did go green yesterday. So we can't even play that 10 EMA. It's got to be a gap and go for the wild card. Let's take a look at PayPal might qualify. So PayPal, they had an activist investor start buying some shares. I don't even think they know how many shares he has yet, but it is a gap and go. This one looks decent. PayPal will definitely be on our list. PayPal might be an option. That would get us targets. I would love to see a little bit of sell-off. But this one looks really, really nice. Add to watch list. Nope, let's set the alert. So alert is set. If it comes back down there, we will watch PayPal very closely. As we are pretty much gapping above all previous not quite pivots. We're still in a little bit of a pivot. But for VPOC concerns, we are definitely above a lot of VPOCs, trapping just a lot of people. I think PayPal definitely could get some momentum. We have decent range on this one. We're into almost this VPOC right now, but we have an untested one all the way back at 86.70. Gives us about $4 opportunity on that one. We'll take a look at Microsoft. Had earnings yesterday, which I thought they actually missed on earnings. If I read that, I read it quick. I didn't read the full report. I thought it was a miss. They're gapping up, so they're up $10. You're gapping above 3 levels. So the only thing, so I like PayPal a little bit better than Microsoft. A miss, but a rosy outlook. Sometimes you just need a little positivity. Let's go. A little positivity brings the stock a long way. Yeah, Microsoft, just be careful on Microsoft. I would love to see more of a pullback on this one down to probably 260.32-ish, somewhere in that range. Test that previous VPOC if it happens. I don't know that it does. Just because you're going to start running into some issues at 262.47, probably a little bit more 263, and then 263.96. So we have a little bit of potential resistance above us where we might start to get even a pop out of the gate, get rejected. So you just be careful on this one. It is definitely a nice little gap up. We do have lots of volume. I would suspect that volume comes mostly after hours yesterday, from the earnings itself and also the lead up into earnings from yesterday. But it is a gap and go. Just candle wise, it does look very strong. As a gap, you should be trapping some bulls. I expect some kind of move. I'm just worried about where this thing actually comes in to start hitting some resistance. PayPal is just wide open. PayPal I like a lot. EMAs are stacked on PayPal. Even more of a reason. Do we look at AMD yet? Google has a gap and go as well. GOOG. L. The Googsters. Yep. Gapping above 2 days candles. It is a gap and go. Could qualify as a wild card. This one on a daily chart, we do have the 10 EMA on a daily slightly above us. And again, we're still in some of these ranges where we just start getting hit with a lot of these VPOCs. This one I would say is untested though, up at 114.03. So it does have room, but we're going to have to get through that daily 10 EMA first. And then we got a bunch of other levels. We might start hitting resistance. So again, I think just anything in the Qs, they are definitely throwing in some gap and goes. It's just where the resistance comes in. How can we make the most out of our trade? And I think really anything on the SPY gives us a better opportunity. Anything less tech related, even though these are some really good gaps. Yeah, I mean, we have developing VPOC there. Obviously, we're housing anybody that was pushing this thing down. Google might be good. Watch the first initial range of 110.83. That would be my first target. If we do get some kind of a dip first coming in, maybe we could get a dip down to like 107.87, and that increases our risk reward of the trade. So I'd rather this thing come down a little bit more and then take off would be best case scenario. I think that would give us more of an opportunity. Boeing missed earnings apparently. That's what Haley in YouTube land is saying. Yeah, I didn't actually see their earnings. I just see they're gapping up. Maybe they played the Microsoft card. You just miss earnings and then just promise good things. You're like, yeah, but we're still in business. And you're like, all right, well, there's that. All right, hourly charts. Costco, so watch out for that hourly 10 EMA starting to come in. Gonna be, again, a little bit of resistance on that one. Daily charts, still technically inside yesterday's range. So this is obviously a gap and go, just not clearing the full day of yesterday. And then on the daily, we did push into that 10 EMA daily as well. Oh, the account's making some crazy sounds. Pulled into the daily 10 EMA, rejected that one pretty hard yesterday. We're still gapping. We're still below that, so just watch out for that. Otherwise, we do have, if we do get momentum, and I don't know if this one happens today, but 528.95 would be probably target, just because that's not been tested. We just straight gap down. Also, just where this gap comes in, this gap today or yesterday was a pretty nasty gap. I mean, you're gapping above huge pivots. We did come in, we did retest that previous VPOC, but you also have this one down here that was never retested, 495.03. So I would actually like to see this one sell off further. Honestly, I think this one could go either way still. You're just kind of in the middle of things. Just be careful on that one. If this one starts getting closed now above the 10 EMA or above 519.94, I can make a case. We probably come back for a retest first, and then we maybe start to complete some of the lower VPOCs on this thing, as it just had a big run, but that gap yesterday was not too pleasant for Costco. All right, so it's 9:23. We got 7 more minutes. Any other tickers you guys have? Tony says Google would be a bullish gap and go. That is correct. My favorite gap of the day so far, PayPal. Delta, unfortunately, would be a number 2. I just say unfortunately because I don't love Delta to trade it as much as I do some of the other ones, just preference. HLT is coming in hot and heavy. Hilton worldwide, wide. 126.50. This one again, relatively decent gap on candles specifically. We've already broken that volume, so that gave people a chance to readjust their positions. Good bullish volume there. We've already been pumping 1, 2, 3. Even though it's a red candle, it's still higher than lower. That's 4, 5, 6, 7. This one did give people a lot of chances to get into the trade, and on this gap, those guys are making money. Watch for maybe some kind of rejection, 127.31. And then this thing, I would suspect at some point this one actually comes back down for some kind of a retest. So I wouldn't exactly go long at open on this one, as you start to hit into some really serious resistance areas. But you have all those people profitable are probably going to, especially on a day where Jerome Powell is going to come out, and who knows what the world looks like by the market close. But I would suspect at some point this one will retest. TXN is a gap and go with a few dollars left. But let's see. Yep, so daily chart. Again, so these guys had earnings. I have no idea what the earnings were. Let me see. So they beat earnings, revenue. They beat revenue by a decent amount. So relatively actually good earnings on Texas Instruments, which I don't think they just make calculators, but that's how I know them. I think they do other things too. I only know their Texas Instruments calculator. Yeah, this one does have some room on it. This one looks good to add to a watch list. So again, we are trapping a decent amount of people. I'd be watching for this 167.76 would be my first resistance area. If this one does break this one, so realistically try to again buy as low as possible. If you get like 166.02 as an entry price, by the time you hit that resistance, you're already sitting in some profit, could probably move stops. If this one could break that level, you do have, we got to get through a lot of chop over here. It's going to cause a little bit of an issue, but next target would probably be somewhere in the 173 zone if we could. So it will have some room. we're going to hit a little bit of a heavier chop area, and probably first target on this one would be the 167.78. Again, very similar to Hilton and probably a lot of stocks right now. The last couple of weeks, it's just been cruising for a bruising for being able to now trap some of those bears. Good gap up. People are profitable to some extent. You even had some decent volume candles come in as well. So I would imagine this one doesn't fly as much as maybe PayPal might, but it is decent. LOGI. Kind of a scientist says, thanks for your videos. I love that handle name. Kind of a scientist. Working for Texas Instruments, I'm sure. This one looks a little different. This one, you got a little gap down. Again, it is gapping into, it has a little bit of support down here. Heavier support. It is a gap and go, though, with good volume yesterday, trapping some people, and it looks different. For the fact that it looks different, I would probably keep an eye on this one. But we are gapping into still a little bit of resistance. If we go to an hourly chart, how much range do we have on this thing? Our first little support zone is going to be 52.49, and then we'd be looking for a full retest to like 51.90. If I could get this thing at 51.90, I might actually look to, I'd be watching that area very closely. So if I want to go long, 51.90, because I'm just going to give the extra room. If I want to go short, see if we get a retest in there again. It is a gap and go, and we are trapping lots of people from yesterday. So otherwise, best place to short would probably be about 53.14. Patience is a virtue, so we'll see. We'll see who's got the virtuous qualities, but waiting for something like that would be good. Shopify. I think Shopify was down when I checked this morning. Let's see. And I believe, did they have earnings? Yep. Nope. So they didn't come out with the earnings as of yet. It doesn't look like it, or it's at least not updated in TradingView. I thought they did, though. I thought it was this morning. Definitely looks different in the market. Watch these levels. Again, I've been saying this. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't ever get there, but my target is $20 on Shopify for me as a long-term investor. See if it gets into that zone. So we are just kind of hanging out inside yesterday's range candle. You're going to have a little bit of support, 31.06 on Shopify. And then we have a little bit more at 30.54. I just think even for the long term, and that's why I don't even mind missing it. Yes, obviously, if this thing runs like crazy in the next 10 years, then this is a great price. And I don't mind buying a couple shares even at this price. I just think that there's so many other opportunities and companies that are just absolutely clobbered, that have weathered the storm of a recession, which, by the way, we will know tomorrow if we're in one. And I just want to put my money in the safest place with the best potential returns. And I think Shopify could come down a little bit. I think it's still overvalued by a little bit. Oh, man, we only got 1 minute and 10 seconds, YouTube. Unfortunately, this is a time where I got to start to look to disconnect from YouTube. But, don't get too upset. We still have the rest of the week. We will be back same time, 9 a.m. to market open with you guys all rest of the week. And then next week, oh, man, I don't know if I mentioned next week, we have free week. So we don't even have to disconnect next week. You could just go to the website. We got free week. You can sign up. Cost you nothing. It's 100% freemium. Make sure you guys do that. And then you guys could be hanging out with us legitimately from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. at night if you decide you do not have a life and want to be there the entire time. Or just when you're free, you can check in all day. It is free all week for you guys. Go to reallifetrading.com. Look at the little tab on the top. It says free week. It cannot be simpler to sign up. Make sure you guys do that. Also, hit the like button. Hit subscribe on YouTube. YouTube, I love you guys, but I have to run. Take it easy. We will catch you guys later.